what we should have is we'll bring it up. Yeah, so I'm going to keep it kind of abridged. But essentially, I think you do a couple of things nicely. I think part of the problem that you have is jiu-jitsu guys stand up is trash, especially old school guys, especially like the generations when you and I first started. And so as a result, it means that we get away with an awful lot in stand up by just being slightly better than the other person, or by knowing the first step when the other person knows none of them. So what you do really nicely is you keep working to the inside. So you don't let him grip up each time you work your hands back inside, so that he doesn't just have collar ties. The issue that you have is you're, like you said yourself, you're not quite sure what to do next. You're kind of waiting for him to do something. You really do nicely repeatedly try and drag him down and go for like a front headlock, but he's wise to that. And the problem then becomes that because you've got nothing to chain it with, the opportunities that you're looking for aren't there, because he only has to do one solution to your one problem. You're trying to drag him down, he just springs up. But when he becomes very upright, he's opening himself up to either a single leg, a double leg, realistically probably a double leg, even just like a blast double where you literally just put your head in the middle of their chest and just yank their knees, the backs of their knees out from behind them. The hard part is shooting. We've been doing a lot of it recently, and it's still difficult to get yourself to take the shot because it feels so risky. So one thing that you can do is do rounds where you've got a minute or 2 minutes on the clock, and if you haven't shot within 30 seconds, you have to do some kind of punishment, like press-ups, burpees, whatever. That can be a good way to encourage people to shoot. The other thing is just make yourself shoot a certain number of times. The only way to get good at takedowns is to repeatedly shoot them over and over again and fuck them up and learn what works and what doesn't. Technical understanding is helpful, but actually I think it can be very, very limiting beyond the basics, because people start talking about, oh, I step this foot forward and then I switch my hands and then I do, and you're 6 steps in and none of it's going to fucking work, because stand-up is quick. So you need to know what you want, and you need to just have a rough idea of how to get there. So I would say if you had a nice blast double to go with that, pulling them down, that would give you something to chain together and kind of make them panic a little bit. Like, we'll see it. So, like, your stance is good. Straight, I mean, you're setting up in it a bit early, but your arms are close. They're inside, so he gets the inside position, so you disengage and re-engage. You're getting your arms in. You might also benefit from watching Kam Atakuru's Stand Up for Jiu-Jitsu. And there he talks about slight changes to this kind of double collar tie that you both have got that will mean you have a massive advantage and he has fuck all, and he probably won't realise it. Essentially, you get an inside bicep tie on one side and you get the collar tie on the other. He tries to snap you down, you realise, but if you notice, the reaction then is you're both very upright. So there's huge opportunities from each of you for either foot sweeps or takedowns because you're both so upright. But the difficulty is we've got locked into this upper body battle. And as you found, it's hard to get much going because you kind of both know what the other one's trying to do. Whereas if you could take a little bit of that predictability away from him, that would help. But again, you can also just sit to guard. If you've got good grips here, you can sit and shoot in on those legs if he's nice and upright. Just don't pull mount. I've done that plenty of times. But yeah, essentially, like you were already saying this, you know that you need to aim for specific things. So the difficulty there is the foot sweep. It's not going to come. He's too far away. He's not off balance. So all you're really doing is just touching him with your leg. I say this as someone who finds foot sweeps very difficult. The only times where they've ever worked is when the person is off balanced already. I would also say you can club someone to the left and to the right to bring their leg towards you. So you can use this collar tie here to move them across, and that creates opportunities that you won't get if all you're doing is pulling them towards you. And it'll also throw them off because it'll be a different direction. So yeah, we've got a lot of this, a lot of back and forth, working inside each time, disengaging when you don't like it, which is good. It's just it feels like you're not quite sure what next. and then he shoots in on that. So I just want to show that because actually here. So he realizes that both of you are completely upright here and your legs are very close and you're square. And so as a result, yeah. So the reason he was able to get that is your hand positioning. Watch what you do with your hands. And I know you said you sort of did this on purpose. So both hands down like that, huge risk, because all he's got to do is tap him up and he's shot in. And even though you've gone for that guillotine, the difficulty is if he can commit to that double leg and turn to the side, the guillotine's off. It's unless you sit back like Shane Curtis style from here and butterfly sweep him over the top of your head, you're going to find it very difficult to get that guillotine because there's no cage for you to back them up against. There's nothing for you to kind of stop him and hip into him in the way that you need to. So yeah, so even there, like what he does is he recognizes he's in trouble with the guillotine and he just builds height because he knows that if he can get his hips high, you can't finish that guillotine. So he just comes up, there we go, grabs the single, shoots for it there. So he uses the double to shoot for some kind of control, and as soon as he recognizes the threat of the guillotine, he actually switches to a different takedown. Whether he realizes that or not, I don't know, but... And then the issue here is we're stuck in flattened half guard, well, half butterfly. You've got the right idea, you've got blocks in, you've got some frames in. The difficulty is you need to it's hard because he's leaning right into you, is to try and create that space. You either need to be super close to him from half guard and half butterfly and all the rest, or you need to be quite far away. Because he's got that head control and that upper body control, it makes your life very difficult as the bottom player. So yeah, so here you're having a little bit more success. I know it don't feel like it because he's had to scoop up that arm and he's coming around the corner, but because you got your shoulder off the mat, he has to change what he's doing. He has to do something different. And from here, you've got, yeah, it's difficult because he can step out. Because he's threatening that darce or that kind of anaconda, it means that he can come away because he's got the upper body control. He's not as worried about the legs. So if you notice how he passed it, he established upper body control immediately because then he doesn't have to worry about your leg barriers. Like you're doing exactly the right thing with them, but they don't offer very much once he's established control of your shoulder, your upper body and your head. Because he can just come out to the side. He's got more movement as a result. You're doing the right thing, you're turning towards him, trying to come on it, yeah, shooting a single. You've got to come up to your feet if you're going to do that though. I know that's a lot easier for me to say. I've been there, it sucks. And then from there, what I would say is if he comes in, you've got an opportunity to Granby roll and be in guard. Or at least be playing open guard, and it just gives you some opportunities. But again, I'm not 4 minutes into the match fucking knackered, so take it with a pinch of salt. So if he goes over the top like he is here, isolating that arm. The difficulty with isolating that arm, there you go, now you've done the right thing. So you're trying to shuck him forwards. If you're going to commit to that because you've realised that's what he's stuck with, get your feet up, try and pop them up. In MMA they call it a quad pod. It works if they don't have underhooks on you. If they do, it doesn't work and it sucks, and you have to kind of sit up and try and stand up instead. But the reason that he doesn't fall off you, even though you try and bump him, is because you haven't built enough height with your hips. If you got your bum up off the floor, he probably would have rolled straight over your head. And it's rough from here. It's difficult work. So the only little thing that I will say is, because this is hard at this stage, he's in a very good position, is if you grab this way, he'll just choke you through your own fingers. It's not hard. there's two things that you can do. If it's right under your neck, Ash Williams showed this at a seminar and everyone started using it at Olympus and it works really nicely. 2 V grips like this up under the elbow. I'm holding my phone with the other hand, otherwise I'd have the other hand next to this hand, and you drive it up and it just places it here on top of your face. It doesn't get rid of that arm, but it takes the pressure and the threat away and gives you time to try and clear the legs. So what you want to try and do is clear the legs with your legs and your hip movement and shuffling from side to side, and protect your upper body with your upper body. Because some people will use their hands and then that's when they get caught up and in a lot of trouble. The other thing that I would suggest is if you're in this position and you're having to defend yourself, instead of doing this, before he even gets his arm in, get both hands here. This palm on this face and then the other palm on this cheek, and have them blocked, and don't go much further than that, because this allows you to create space and push away his arm and frustrate him. And it means that if he tries to choke you, he's got to go through the meat of your wrist, and you can kind of place it in front of your jaw, and it's very hard to finish the choke when that is there. It's not impossible, but it's a fuck of a lot easier than just fingertips, which don't do anything. If you look up Jiu-Jitsu University, the book by the Ribeiro brothers, Saulo and I can't remember the other one, that's what they recommend in gi, and I've kept it with me. And there's like many other things that you can do as well, like wrist control and stuff, but if you're in that position, getting that arm on the inside like this is much more useful than getting your arm over the top, because it's very hard for you to stop that. You're doing well to try and control that top arm so that he can't finish the choke. The difficulty being he's got it so far across, he can do it off the back of your shoulder. Yeah, and then he's just got to shoot it out. There's not a lot that you could have done from there. It's tough when you manage to pass to that good position. But I don't think it's not awful. You got caught in a bad position after that stand up, and that made it very difficult to work from there. Part of that was to do with your back being flat. So one of the things that you can focus on is, from half guard, just never let both shoulders be touching the mat. Create those frames to create space. You want to sort of be chilling on your side like this, away from them. Watch Craig Jones play half guard and look at his body position. He looks like he's relaxing on a beach because he's keeping them away from him, or he's engaging on his terms to deal with them. But yeah, mate, the stand-up, you had the right idea, you were doing the right sorts of things. The biggest mistake was going, let's see what you've got then. Because it turned out he had a double and then transitioned to a nice outside single and then take you down. And that's the difficulty. It was maybe a high crotch actually from where he was coming from. But anyway, he had a couple of takedowns, but you were able to keep him at bay because you were doing the right things from the inside. He also gave you a lot of opportunities there. So either you have some things to work on from standing, or now you know that when they pop up, you can try and engage on the legs or pull guard so that you can play the kind of aggressive guard that you want to, rather than getting caught up in his game. So the problem was that as soon as you relaxed your arms down, he was playing his game from start to finish and you were having to react to him. You couldn't take the momentum away from him like you could on the feet, because he had nothing to deal with. Or he did, but it was much harder. You were stuck on the back foot because he'd established a good position. He'd got your back flat to the mat and he had upper body control. And from that point, trying to defend guard is gross. It's really, really hard work. And it's very, very easy for him to do the right things. Half guard is a proper 50-50 position. Half guard on your side, aggressively using your legs, is a horrible place for someone to be stuck as the top player. Half guard where your back is flattened and they've got upper body control is the easiest place in the world to pass. If you watch the best guys, it's what they look for. So they will use like outside camping and stuff like that to put pressure on their opponent so that they give up smashed half guard. And unfortunately, that's what he managed to establish very quickly as soon as you guys hit the mat. Before he even worried about his legs, he'd already established upper body control because that allows him to get his legs out more easily. Yeah, so some stuff to work on there, mate. Like, it is what it is. I wouldn't worry too much. I think the biggest thing for you is having an aim of what you want rather than getting frustrated and going, oh, I guess I'll see what he's got, because you're immediately on the back foot. It's not worth playing that. It's much, much better to have him stuck in your attacking cycle than you stuck reacting to his attacking cycle, which puts you one step behind him.